What if the secret to a meaningful, purposeful elder life isn't found in modern self-help books, but in ancient wisdom that's been forgotten by our society? Could it be that in our relentless pursuit of progress, we've inadvertently severed vital connections to ancient wisdom specifically designed to guide us through life's final chapters? After spending the past 5 years studying wisdom traditions across cultures, I've come to a sobering realization. The societies that most revered their elders, that saw aging not as decline, but as spiritual ripening, were often those we dismissed as primitive or uncivilized. Among these traditions, the indigenous peoples of North America stand out for their profound understanding of life's later seasons, wisdom largely lost to our youth-obsessed, forward-rushing modern world. What I've discovered through both research and personal relationships with Native elders is this. Embedded within indigenous traditions are specific teachings that speak directly to the challenges and opportunities of our senior years. Teachings that, if embraced before it's too late, can transform what many experience as a time of loss and diminishment into one of unprecedented meaning, connection, and purpose. Today, I'll share 4 life-changing lessons from Native American wisdom traditions that every person over 60 should know. Teachings that might just reframe how you experience the remaining chapters of your life. Chief Seattle of the Suquamish and Duwamish tribes once said, "Humankind has not woven the web of life. We are but one thread within it. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves." This recognition of interconnection becomes increasingly vital as we age. Chief Seattle delivered this wisdom during treaty negotiations in 1854, representing indigenous peoples of the Puget Sound region whose traditions were deeply rooted in environmental stewardship. Before we continue, I must acknowledge that Native American cultures comprise hundreds of distinct nations with unique practices and beliefs. I approach these teachings with deep respect, recognizing that as a non-native person, I can only share what I've learned through study and relationships with indigenous elders. I welcome Native viewers to add their perspectives in the comments. Of the 4 life lessons I will discuss, pay particular attention to lesson number 3. It revealed to me why so many seniors feel displaced in modern society, and how we might reclaim our rightful place in the human community. If you found the video helpful, please subscribe to my channel and share this video to help others discover these insights. Now, let's explore these 4 ancient teachings and how they can illuminate our path in our later years. Ancient wisdom begins with understanding life as a circle rather than a straight line. While modern society views life as a linear progression from birth to death, indigenous traditions recognize a circular journey with distinct seasons, each offering unique gifts and purposes. This concept appears prominently in Lakota, Navajo, Diné, and Anishinaabe traditions. The Lakota medicine wheel divides life into 4 quadrants, representing the stages of existence. The Navajo Hojub encompasses walking in harmony through life cycles, while the Anishinaabe 7 Fires prophecy speaks to cultural revival across generations. Black Elk, the renowned Oglala Lakota medicine man, explained, "Everything the power of the world does is done in a circle. The sky is round. Birds make their nests in circles. The sun comes forth and goes down again in a circle. Even the seasons form a great circle in their changing, and always come back again to where they were." Born in 1863, Black Elk shared this teaching in his biography, as told through poet John G. Neihardt in 1932. My friend Thomas, a retired architect, discovered this perspective's transformative power after struggling with post-retirement depression. Having defined himself by achievement for decades, retirement left him feeling purposeless. During a wellness retreat incorporating Native American teachings, Thomas encountered the sacred circle concept. Instead of seeing himself at the end of a line, He began to understand he was completing a circle, and that completion was vital to the journey. He stopped fighting against the natural season he was in and started asking what this particular season was for. That simple shift changed everything. This aligns with Erik Erikson's developmental psychology research, identifying life's final stage as centered on integrity versus despair. The integration of one's entire life experience into a meaningful whole. For Thomas, embracing the circular view meant recognizing that this time of life wasn't about starting anew, but about integration, synthesis, and completing the circle with grace. He began to see his role not as continuing to build and achieve, but as understanding and sharing the meaning of what had already been built and achieved. Take a moment now to draw a simple circle on paper. Mark where you feel you are in your life circle. Then identify what season came before and what might lie ahead. What wisdom have you gathered from previous seasons that might be especially valuable in this current position? This teaching invites us to consider, are you fighting against the season of life you're in, trying to live by the values and rhythms of earlier seasons? Or are you embracing the unique gifts and responsibilities of your current position in the sacred circle? The practical application is to align your daily rhythms with the natural season of life you're in. Just as you wouldn't plant spring seeds in autumn, there are activities, pursuits, and perspectives uniquely suited to your elder years. Identifying and honoring these can bring profound peace and purpose. As we embrace life's circular nature, we naturally discover the next teaching: intentional connection with the natural world. Indigenous traditions recognize that this relationship takes on special significance in our elder years, offering unique healing and spiritual nourishment when we need it most. This practice takes different forms across tribes but shares a common foundation. The Ojibwe concept of Jikendasowin encompasses knowledge from nature observation. The Cherokee practice, Atsila Galfkawetiyu, sacred forest walking for spiritual renewal. The Coast Salish peoples practice Exwalamstekswu, deep, reverent observation of natural phenomena. Luther Standing Bear, a Lakota chief born in 1868, wrote, "The old Lakota was wise. He knew that man's heart away from nature becomes hard. He knew that lack of respect for growing, living things soon led to lack of respect for humans too. This wisdom becomes increasingly relevant as we face society's diminished respect for elders." My colleague Eleanor, a retired professor, discovered this teaching's power during health challenges and isolation. Having dedicated decades to intense intellectual work indoors, she found herself disconnected after friends passed away and her mobility became limited. Her daughter's gift of a small balcony garden became unexpectedly transformative. She had never gardened in her life. Initially, she only tended those plants out of obligation to her daughter. But something profound began happening as she daily observed the slow, quiet unfolding of growth. What began as courtesy became spiritual practice. She expanded her garden and began taking daily reverence walks in a nearby park. She goes to the same tree each morning, places her hand on its bark, and feels the life within it. Sometimes she speaks about her concerns. That tree has become one of her most important relationships. Eleanor's experience aligns with research on Japanese forest bathing, or Shinrin-yoku. Studies show that nature immersion reduces stress hormones, lowers blood pressure, and enhances mental clarity, benefits particularly valuable for seniors. But indigenous wisdom recognizes nature connection as spiritual medicine, especially suited to elder years. Right now, wherever you are, take 30 seconds to identify the closest natural element to you, even if it's just a houseplant, the sky visible through a window, or the wood grain in your furniture. Focus your complete attention on it. Notice its textures, colors, and patterns. How does this brief moment of connection affect your breathing and sense of presence? This small practice exemplifies what many indigenous traditions call reverent attention, the foundation of deeper nature connection. These practices aren't unique to North America. Similar approaches exist in Aboriginal Australian Dadiri, deep listening to land, Andean Karo, Aini, reciprocity with nature, and Japanese Shizen practices. Their universality suggests fundamental importance to human well-being, especially in older years. This teaching becomes increasingly important as mobility limitations often increase with age. While younger people might connect with nature through strenuous hiking or adventure sports, indigenous traditions emphasize that deep nature connection doesn't require physical prowess or special locations. What matters is the quality of attention and reverence brought to the relationship. To incorporate this teaching, consider: what small, consistent nature connection could you establish regardless of your physical limitations? How might intentional reverence for the natural world provide perspective on your current life challenges? Share your thoughts in the comment. As our connection with natural cycles deepens, we discover another vital teaching that illuminates why so many seniors feel displaced in modern society: the rightful place of elders in community. This is also what I want you to focus on to gain a new perspective on modern society today. In virtually all Native traditions, older adults held essential roles, recognized as possessing exactly the qualities needed for community guidance and spiritual grounding. Chief Oren Lyons, 1932,023, faithkeeper of the Turtle Clan of the Seneca Nations, explained, "In our way of life, with every decision we make, we always keep in mind the seventh generation to come. We make our decisions on behalf of the seventh generation coming." This long-view thinking represents the particular gift of accumulated life experience. Richard, a retired judge, experienced this teaching's power after mandatory retirement left him feeling irrelevant. Despite decades of respected service, he suddenly found himself without a meaningful role or voice in his community of what he called elder irrelevance syndrome. During a cultural immersion with the Pueblo people of New Mexico, Richard observed their elder council functioning. What struck him most wasn't just that they were included, but that they were expected to provide a specific kind of wisdom, not technical expertise or physical labor, but something only they could offer: perspective, pattern recognition, and concern for future generations. This experience led Richard to completely reframe his understanding of his role. Rather than trying to prove his continued relevance by competing on younger people's terms, he began consciously cultivating and offering the specific forms of wisdom that come only with long life experience. He now mentors troubled youth, serves on a community ethics board, and hosts neighborhood wisdom circles, where people bring dilemmas for elder consideration. He stopped trying to be relevant in ways that aren't authentic to his stage of life. Instead, he began offering what only someone with 7 decades of life experience can provide: pattern recognition, historical context, and concern for the long view. Consider now what specific form of wisdom you possess that might be particularly valuable to your community. Is it from a historical perspective, ethical discernment, conflict resolution, practical skill, emotional resilience? Write down at least 3 wisdom resources you've developed over your lifetime that could benefit others if properly shared. These are your elder gifts that no technology or youth-focused initiative can replace. This teaching connects directly with current research on cognitive development in older adults. While some cognitive processes indeed decline with age, others, particularly those related to wisdom, such as emotional regulation, perspective taking, and recognition of patterns across contexts actually improve. These wisdom capabilities are precisely what indigenous traditions recognized as the elder's unique contribution. This elder wisdom role exists across many traditional cultures worldwide. In East African Maasai communities, the Olaiguanani Council of Elders resolves disputes and guides community decisions. In traditional Korean culture, the Hyangyak system formally incorporates elder wisdom in community governance. In Maori society of New Zealand, Kamatua, male elders, and Kuya, female elders, hold essential roles in maintaining cultural continuity and providing spiritual guidance. These parallels remind us that valuing elder wisdom is not culturally specific, but represents a time-tested approach to social organization that modern societies have largely abandoned to their detriment. To integrate this teaching into your life, consider: what wisdom have you gained that isn't technical knowledge but life perspective? Where in your community might that wisdom be particularly valuable? How might you create or join contexts where intergenerational wisdom sharing is valued? Remember that in Native traditions, the elder's role isn't self-appointed but recognized by the community. This means creating spaces where your wisdom can be offered in service, rather than imposed where it isn't sought. Our wisdom journey culminates in perhaps the most powerful indigenous teaching for seniors: purposeful storytelling, as both spiritual discipline and legacy creation. This practice becomes increasingly significant as we age, offering a way to ensure our life experience serves future generations. Across cultures, elders were primary storytellers, not simply from knowing more stories, but understanding narrative's power to transmit values and identity across generations. My neighbor Margaret, at 76, discovered this teaching's power after feeling increasingly invisible in her family. Despite a rich life of experiences including civil rights activism, international travel, and overcoming significant challenges, she found that family gatherings rarely included space for her perspectives or memories. She felt she was disappearing while still alive. Her life experiences seemed to have no value to anyone else, as if her only purpose now was to admire her grandchildren and stay out of the way. During a community workshop on indigenous wisdom, Margaret encountered the concept of purposeful storytelling as an elder responsibility. What struck her wasn't just the importance of sharing stories, but the intentional way Native elders shaped their narratives to transmit specific wisdom. This insight led Margaret to completely rethink her approach to family communication. Rather than hoping for opportunities to share her experiences, she began creating those opportunities through what she calls legacy letters, weekly writings to her grandchildren that share specific life experiences connected to values she hopes to transmit. Beyond written communication, Margaret also began recording oral histories of her experiences during the civil rights movement, not as mere historical accounts, but as purposeful narratives designed to transmit the values of justice, courage, and perseverance she hopes will live beyond her. Think about a challenging experience you've had that taught you something valuable. How might you shape that into a story that transmits wisdom rather than just information? What 3 key values or insights would you want the listener to gain from your narrative? Take a moment to outline this story, focusing on the meaning rather than just the sequence of events. This is the beginning of purposeful storytelling. This practice aligns with research on generativity, psychologist Erik Erikson's term for the drive to create something that outlasts oneself. Studies show that seniors who engage in intentional legacy-creating activities report higher life satisfaction and sense of purpose than those who don't. But indigenous wisdom takes this further, recognizing storytelling as not just psychologically beneficial, but spiritually essential. In many Native traditions, the stories told by elders weren't simply historical accounts, but living vessels of spiritual power, narratives that actually shaped reality by influencing how younger generations perceived and engaged with the world. This understanding elevates storytelling from mere reminiscence to sacred action. We see similar storytelling traditions in other elder-honoring cultures. In West African griot traditions, elder storytellers maintain community history and ethical frameworks through oral narratives. Among Australian Aboriginal groups, elder songkeepers maintain the dreaming stories that connect people to land and ancestors. These parallel traditions highlight the universal recognition of elder storytelling as essential cultural infrastructure. This connects directly with our third teaching about the elder's rightful place in community. In Native traditions, storytelling wasn't just permitted for elders, it was expected, as elders alone possessed both the life experience and the spiritual maturity to shape narrative in service of community values and future generations. To incorporate this teaching, consider and share your thoughts in the comment. What experiences in your life contain wisdom that might serve others? How might you shape those experiences into narratives that transmit values rather than just information? Who specifically needs the particular wisdom your life has given you? Now that we've explored these 4 transformative teachings from Native American wisdom traditions, the Sacred Circle, Walking with Reverence, the Council of Elders, and purposeful storytelling, let's discuss practical ways to integrate them into daily life. First, create personal rituals honoring cyclical time. Establish dawn greetings, acknowledging each day as an opportunity. Reflect monthly on moon phases as metaphors for life's journey, and develop seasonal ceremonies marking personal harvests and releases. Maintain natural connection despite limitations, like Eleanor's micro-nature practices that enable deep connection despite mobility challenges, nurture relationships with plants through their seasonal cycles, develop sky-watching routines, and keep natural objects within reach. Utilize elder wisdom where it genuinely serves. Consider Maria, who established a community garden sharing traditional knowledge with younger participants. Raj, who created a grandparent mentor program at his temple. And Samuel, who offers conflict resolution drawing on decades of community experience. Develop intentional storytelling that transmits values beyond information. Create a wisdom journal, documenting meaningful experiences, focusing on how events shaped your values and what guidance they might offer others facing similar challenges. As we close our exploration, Indigenous wisdom suggests our purpose in life's afternoon is gathering, integrating, and transmitting our morning's experiences, not just for personal completion, but as essential service to future generations. I invite you to embrace these teachings as opportunities to experience your elder years, not as decline, but as a season of unique purpose and contribution. Together, they offer a framework for becoming an elder, rather than simply aging, a transformation involving both inner development and outward service. If you found value in today's exploration, please like and share this video with others who might benefit. Leave a comment about your own experiences with these or other Indigenous wisdom teachings, or questions you'd like addressed in future episodes. Thank you for spending time with me, and I'll see you in the next video.